Hi, and welcome to this week's Stellar Developer Meeting. With me in the studio here today, I have Fernando from Dob Protocol. And I can't exactly remember when I heard about Dob Protocol for the first time, but I do remember I noticed that my feeds in all social media, like LinkedIn, X, anywhere, this company just started to pop up, and there was articles, and they were going to conferences, and I just got really curious about what's up with these guys. What are they doing? So, and of course they were tagging Stellar in everything they were doing, being awesome ambassadors. So I started to read a little bit up on what they're doing, and since then I've had the pleasure of meeting the whole team several times. Last time actually this week in Silicon Valley, where I met Oscar, but met the team also at Meridian, many other places. So I think it's a great opportunity to have them here in the studio and hear what they're up to, what they're doing, and share with the rest of the community. So welcome, Fernando, and thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Carsten. I'm pleasure to be here. So should I just now continue with the
Yeah,
presentation?
yeah.
Yes,
Maybe just tell a little bit about who you are, how long time
yes.
you've been working on the protocol.
A bit of an introduction. I'm Fernando Castillo. I'm currently the CTO of Dob Protocol, one of the co-founders, and um, our main goal now with Dob Protocol is to be able to all of the infrastructure that's not being funded to get funded by decentralized means. And now in this presentation, hopefully I'm going to show a way on how we can do that with the Token Studio and with the other tools we've been developing. So first, yeah, what's the team? A bit of also an introduction. Uh, Carsten already mentioned Oscar. He's our CEO. He's currently at Silicon Valley doing the Embark program with DraperU University in conjunction with Stellar. Also, we have Simone Spinola, who's our operation and business officer, and myself, as I said already, and also as a side note, I'm finishing my PhD until Berlin. Now I'm in Germany currently, so it's a bit late for me now. It's 10 p.m., but I'm happy to be here. And yeah, so what's the problem that we are facing is that in Latin America, there are a lot of infrastructure operators that are lacking fund, and they struggle to scale because on traditional banking systems, they require to go to us to the bank to then request for a loan, then go through all the bureaucracy of the bank. But then also time moves, and they need the money to deploy and to create this new infrastructure that is not risky by itself, but maybe the banks consider it's risky because of the type of size of the company maybe or the type of emerging market. So but it's not that the business itself of that infrastructure is non investable or that it will give money returns. So as I was saying, let's imagine that you are Mariano, you are trying to get a traditional credit, a loan for a bank. But this, depending on the country, also, for example, we've recently seen in Argentina how this country was facing high inflation rates or similar situation with Venezuela and other countries in Latin America with high inflation rates that then this ties those loans to higher interest rates, plus the risk on the country itself. So there's this problem of banks because of these situations not giving beneficial loans to to these infrastructure operators. And at the same time, if the infrastructure operator would go, for example, for a crowdfunding or a regular crowdfunding solution where they could go online and then they could say, okay, let's get all of these people, request this amount of money. I don't know, let's ask for $100,000 so we can build this power grid based on solar power. Then how then this operator could return or distribute the revenue that this energy production is generating, and how could they do it in a trustworthy fashion? So all of the uh, people that were investing or supporting the project can give their money back or the investment. And just as a parenthesis, Latin infra operators are Latin American infrastructure operators. They are, for example, medium to small companies that have these infrastructure projects. For example, a small or not so small, but maybe a few kilowatts or 100 kilowatts of power injecting into the energy grid, for example, solar base or eolic, or there could be other type of infrastructure, for example, a data center or any type of infrastructure that's not relying on a big company, because big companies they wouldn't have this type of problem to access credits or loans from banks. So in our, or what are we proposing as a solution? We have this separated in 4 steps. One is to provide a tool for the operator to hand out verifiable data from their existing company or projects, so they can, for example, validate, okay, this solar cell is going to produce this amount of energy because it has these specifications. I have already bought them for this price, or I have this revenue evidence for similar infrastructure. Pictures or proof of location, for example, for where is it installed, the infrastructure. And that's the first part of, okay, how can we give some due diligence? For example, that's the same thing that the bank would go when this person goes to the bank. Okay, show me the papers. How can I know that you are not going to ask for the money for an made up project, but it's a real project and you're a real company that was not just created yesterday? Then all of this information is naturally audited and revised by automated process that are human-led. What does that mean? It means that we check, for example, okay, this is a receipt, but it has a digital signature. So it's not that this invoice, for example, you get from another company paying for your service or for your infrastructure, is making this up, but at least it's on the record, it's on the ledger of the tax offices, for example, or the corresponding regulatory office in charge of invoice. And then so they cannot be made up. And the same with the revenues or how other distribution processes have been made. And then so and the third part is, okay, how can we then get this decentralized funding into the hands of Mariano, the one that was asking for the funding? So for this is where we have the smart contracts that take care of this operation, where the supporters for the project can support Mariano's infrastructure project, and then he can get the fund to install or do the setup for for their project. Then the same once Mariano needs or is going to pay back with the corresponding interest to their supporters, then the smart contract also takes care of that with a decentralized distribution that's transparent and it's auditable for all of the stakeholders. And this is currently on a suite that we're calling Dob Token Studio. There, basically, we have two types of users. Now we're thinking of a third user, but the two main users you probably have noticed already are the infrastructure operator and the investor or supporter. On one side, the infrastructure operator, as I was saying, takes care of uploading the information, the device information, how this is technically behaving, how is the type of revenue it's going to generate, is it going to generate distributions or revenue distributions, revenue distributions every month, every week, or every quarter or annually, and those are those sets the expected APR that the of infrastructure operator is offering. Once this is done, then this goes into the blockchain, so it's committed that okay, this is the information we're committed for the posterior auditing. And then, as I said, this is reviewed, the authenticity and the validity of the information.
Maybe
So,
you can just stop a moment. There's a couple of
yeah.
questions. I'm green here.
Yes. Yes, actually, well, going for the first question, what are LATAM infra operators? LATAM infra operators are Latin American infrastructure operators. They are the ones that want to get funded. RWS and infra are inherently illiquid. How do you address that? Yes, that's one of the innovation that we are doing, is that we are not tokenizing. Maybe that was one point that I was missing, is that we are not tokenizing the infrastructure by itself, but what we are focusing is on the revenue this infrastructure is going to generate, and that comes with a higher risk, obviously, but then it balances the higher risk with the higher APR. How do you solve regulatory compliance law issues? Yes, this is I really don't think I will be able to address all of those regulatory compliance issues, but I can say that because of the nature of the project, that, as I was saying earlier, we are not tokenizing an asset and itself, but we are working with the future revenue it will produce that can solve other type of compliance around regulation issues. But also it's important to mention that this is very local and depending on each country finally. So it won't be the same, for example, the same in the US and here in Germany or in Chile. Okay, then wait, payback, is this a loan or is it a revenue participating in the project? Yes, so this can be considered as multiple things. So in the end, is this revenue for what the infrastructure generates. That's, as I was saying, it's what's being kind of tokenized. But then if you look at from a different perspective, then or the traditional perspective, this could be taken as a loan from the chat file. I see Oscar was as now. Is there now? I don't know. Is it who will review centralized? Yes, I think that's those are most of the questions. Then yes, this is obviously this is a regulated service. It cannot is not the Wild West, but now I will focus mostly on the technological part of how we are addressing these issues, because for compliance, I think we can take a bit longer to answer all of those questions. Okay, so I'll continue then. So with this, we're offering multiple features in this platform that this we can submit multiple type of evidence. This is based on the concept of trust stops, where we are producing evidence for all of the stages and all of the interaction, the infrastructure, and the operators are generating and producing. What does that mean? For example, when the operator, the first one I mentioned it already, the operator can submit, okay, these are the technical specifications, or this is an invoice. But then we can get more complex evidence when we start to aggregate different types of evidence, because one invoice alone, for example, would mean, okay, you will receive this payment in the future, or you are receiving it now. But then to do the accounting evidence, for example, for that we need to connect with the ERP of the business, and that's more complex than just verifying a single invoice. Then human-led guided integrity check means that even though this project or what we are doing is highly depending on automation, we still require people in the loop, some person in the loop, that so everything goes yes, as I was mentioning earlier, under the according regulation. Then we'll rely on the on-chain verification module. So all of the transactions, especially for the stakeholders that are supporting the project or the infrastructure operator, they can see how all of these actions are being verified on chain, how they are transparent with the respective proofs. And finally, as every project is different, all of them will have a different type of scorings. For example, and with this will represent basically from high risk project to and higher APR, and lower risk and lower therefore APR. And in practical terms, how is this the overview of this smart contracts, in particular for the token studio, is that we as the infrastructure operator deploys the splitter contract, and there we have different functions to define the shareholders, how are they going to be allocated, how are they going to do the withdrawals, how often are going to be the distribution, the events, and to which token is this binded. Regularly, we will be working with USDC, but for example, this could take other type of tokens if that's how that project is defined. But most of the time, we work with USDC. And in simple terms, it's super. I think it's super easy to understand. If there's one shareholder or token holder with the 10%, then once the distribution take place, all of the revenue that was generated and was deposited into the smart contract, then it will go at 10% into the one that has 10% of the tokens. So on how this distribution flow goes is that first we have the admin that communicates to the splitter contract that's going to do the distribution, what's the token address, then this is verified inside of the smart contract, then it verifies, then check the current balance. For example, are there 100 tokens to distribute, and then initiates the loop, checking on the token holders and the respective balance, and that's how it does the calculation, and that goes then into the storage class where it's finished with the distribution. It's really straightforward. Then for the withdrawal, then each shareholder or token holder goes into the splitter. It does the prospective verification, check with the storage, what's the current allocation, then decrease on the storage part, then communicates directly with the token. The token does a transfer with successful withdrawal, and then it goes again to the shareholder. At the storage level, this is just in case I'm presenting it like this because we're currently going on their respective revisions and auditings, so it cannot be everything public. I mean, this can, but not the code itself yet. And then we have the share data key, the config data key, and the allocation data key, which basically defines how's the shares for each data holder, who's the admin, all of the security, what's the allocation for each token holder, and then how this can be allocated each time the distribution goes. Then here, on the security level, on how we're taking this very seriously, defining their access control policies, admin only function, the authentication, the lock on the contract, the transfer contracts. Also, we have our internal scripts for doing to have a deployer and do an atomic operation, so we don't run on front running risks. Then we have allocation limits, some validations, and so on. And this, as a first case, we've presented this to investment of returns for the investors or supporters of the project of infrastructure. But this, for example, could be used as token vesting models over team members on time for similar to the revenue sharing for a DAO treasury or for reward distribution. And then for the particular the feature that we're missing for before that this is a secure and transparent way on how this distribution method is performed, because all of the transactions are done on chain, and that these transactions are then proportional to each one of the supporters. So yes, thank you very much. I hope I didn't pass on time.
No. We have
So
a few questions
yeah,
in the chat. I think
okay.
I think there are
Yes,
some.
so where I left, is it either alone with interest or is it a share participation? Yes, as I said, it's more of a share participation of the project. I was making the loan with interest at the beginning to make the analogy with traditional banking settings. Who will review centralized entities? Yes, this needs to go all of the businesses and infrastructure, which are the infrastructure operators in this case, goes into a know your business process, because this has to also go with anti-money laundering policy and all of those regulations. Does that mean that the entire review process and due diligence is no? The proofs, or more than the proofs, the hash of the proofs and the evidence are stored unchanged, because we cannot just publish accounting states or financial states from companies on chain. Is it really 100% of the project's revenue, or is it some? Yes. So when we consider this, there's for example, the energy production that a solar panel is going to generate. It's going, let's say, it generates $100 per week. Then from this, there's a minimal amount that's defined during the creation of the project that needs to go by to the operation itself. That could be, for example, 30% or 20%. That depends on the project. So it's finally on the discounted from the operation. Then that's what goes into what's distributed. How would you manage then state exploration if you are storing hashes on chain? Do you mean like if a proof is expired, for example? I'm not sure to which state do you mean, well, Matthias? Yes, so that is so when proofs are verified, it depends on the type of proof, and there are multiple risks when you verify proofs. Certainly one is, for example, using old proofs or reusing proofs. Other is just trying to use past evidence as newly evidence. But all of those parts are very part of the off-chain verification. And when the on-chain verification happens, this proof has been already through this process. Yes. So currently, the guarantees do I pass this? Yeah. Let me answer this first. Yes. So there's currently a new feature we want to do is to actually put some collateral that can give stakeholders more guarantees. So we would, because from the beginning this sounds more like, okay, we could be giving random money to a stranger that maybe at that point everything was true, but then still did a rug pull, as you mentioned, and therefore we are creating this other collateralization mechanism. But that's not defined yet. But that's why also on the first stage of this, we are focusing only on companies that we know that can give these guarantees and are not a meme company, for example. So that's one really important point. So stellar asset or so the stellar, the artist token, actual stellar asset or Sorban tokens. So as I was saying, is the token that's distributed is a USDC, and how the asset of the token holder is also a token, because why not a regular Stellar asset? Because we needed to create some extra functions that were not into the assets.
Okay, great. I think you got caught up on all the questions. It's great to see that there's so many questions. There's so much interest in what you guys are doing and how you structure it. So yeah, it was great. If there's no other questions, then I guess we can stop here. But thank you so much for joining today. I think it's super interesting to see what you're doing. It's I kind of like these type of projects that are not the typical projects we see. It's definitely using tokens and using the platform in a different way. I think that's super interesting. Yeah.
Just let me add.
There's the last one.
To answer that last question. Yes, one of our current goals is to bring liquidity from other blockchains, in particular from Ethereum-based blockchains, liquidity. And that's because actually we're not only based on working on Stellar, but we're also working on Base. And we see this potential from bringing more liquidity to Stellar from Base through this infrastructure projects. And yes, we're taking a look at near intents.
Great. Well, thank you for joining, everyone, and thank you for joining too, Fernando. It was great to catch up with you, and I'm sure I'll see you at events around the world. Like I have the past year.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Great. Yeah, and if anyone else has any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to the team on Discord. I think one of the things that's very interesting about this is that it brings up some use cases and some things that are that raises some questions, because maybe we haven't seen that before, or maybe we are not used to thinking about tokenization in this way, or using the platform. So a lot of great questions that really I think you had great answers, and it's interesting to see how you're building this. So thank you, everyone, and see you again next week.
Thank you. Bye bye.